Cashflow Diary Podcast, episode 62.
Congratulations, you showed up. Give yourself a high five in celebration of your success. Welcome to the Cashflow Diary, where new and experienced investors come to take confident action towards their goals. Your host is a family man, a real estate entrepreneur, investor, coach, and instructor. As a master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's Cashflow 101 game, he's inspired many to begin their journey into creating cash flow for themselves and their family. And now, here he is to offer you the tools required to earn the income desired. Your cash flow coach, Jay Massey.
All right, and welcome to another episode of the Cashflow Diary Podcast, and I'm Jay, your host. If this is your first time here, congratulations, welcome. You are now ready to get started. If this is your, 101st time, it doesn't matter how many times you've been here, but you're back, and I'm excited for that because that means you're still in the journey to becoming what? Something more than what you are today, and that's what gets me so excited. Now, today we're going to be talking to a gentleman who knows a lot about a most important topic. Because right now there's probably one big topic in my head that is preventing you from experiencing the success that you're looking for. But more importantly than that, you're looking for the resources that are going to help you break through. And I've been having this new relationship, you will, with technology and this new software that we've been using that has been helping us to break through in many different areas. And who we're going to be talking to today is more than an expert at it and making sure that you and I have everything that we need to go out there and literally change our customers' lives. And that's what's important, because when you're going to create cash flow, nothing happens until there's a sale. And that's definitely going to be a really big topic of what we're going to talk about today. Now, as I said before, if this is your first time joining us, you want to go over to learninvestingnow.com. At learninvestingnow.com, you'll find a free resource so that you have the ability to go ahead and get started learning how to do real estate using preferably very limited resources so that you can go out there and build your portfolio and expand your cash flow. And that's the whole point, is for you to go out there and expand your cash flow. Now, you say, Jay, I'm tired of learning and I'm ready to start earning. Totally understood. You're going to go over to begininvestingnow.com, and one of our cash flow coaches will eventually contact you to help you get started with some of our cash flow producing assets that we already have available for you, already set up, ready to go, so that you have the ability to start expanding your portfolio literally in as little as 7 or 14 days. So with that all being said, let's talk about sales, because that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about that word. Even though sales is like 5 letters, it feels like a 4-letter word to most people. And what I'm going to say to you is that if you've listened to any of the prior episodes with either Eric Lofholm or Jermaine Griggs or just any of the entrepreneurs, I want you to underscore one thing: just how important sales is. Today's guest, he comes to us, and if you may be familiar with him, if you've ever been to the saleswhisperer.com website, he produces quality content, quality podcast on sales. That's what's great. It's such an essential skill, and unfortunately, it's a forgotten skill, but he's bringing it back, and that's one of the reasons he's here today, is to share with us those insider secrets, if you will. If you haven't picked up his book, you definitely should, because it's a great read, and he's definitely got a good sense of humor about everything that we do. And one of the things that I want you to understand is that it is a learned skill, and it doesn't matter where you start. It just matters that you start. Do me a favor and welcome Mr. Wes Schaeffer. Wes?
Woo! Just when I clap. Woo! Yeah.
Somebody better clap, right? We'll never hear them.
I can bring my kids in and say, make them cheer.
We'll do that. Yes, that's a good idea. I like it. Well, if nothing else, we can always count on the kids to cheer. They make you feel better. Bad sales day, kids make you feel better.
Hey, you want some candy? You better cheer. Cheer loud.
Exactly. So, share with us, if you will, because I ask everybody this. I look at entrepreneurs and I consider us to be superheroes, the modern day superhero, if you will. Mm-hmm. We swoop in, we solve problems. We hopefully aren't wearing capes and leotards, but you never know. And I'm just kind of curious, what's your origin story? Where does Wes come from? How did he get started? Before you were the sales whisperer, what were you doing?
Well, I've always worn a cape. I just tuck it in sometimes because it kind of freaks people out, you know.
I understood.
So I don't want to scare them. I grew up in the South, just middle class family. Ended up moving to Houston, and my parents split up, and money was tight. I had good grades. I was a good athlete. I was recruited by the Air Force Academy to play football for them. And if you get appointed to one of the academies, it's free. Right? They just take it out of your backside for 9 years. But other than that, you don't have any student loans. So
Completely free.
Okay. Yeah, define free.
You're
right?
right.
So I was recruited to play, and so I attended in '88, graduated in '92, served 5 years on active duty. I still look back and wonder how the heck I made it through. I've always been a bit. It's kind of it's weird dichotomy. I always had good grades. Did not get into trouble, but I don't like a lot of rules. I don't like people telling me what to do.
But you went in the military.
But and go to the academy. I have 4 years of them telling you what to do. So like I said, a bit of a dichotomy. But I got out in '97, did my 5 years, and went right into commission sales. I wanted to be paid for my efforts, for what I produced, not merely for time in grade. Right? Stay 2 years. Go do this. Don't get in trouble. Okay, you get promoted. It's like, no, I want to get paid for my worth, for what I produce. And so I was an officer. Things were good. I was married. We had a kid, another kid on the way. I lived at the fourth house from the golf course down in Biloxi, Mississippi, looking out of the back bay of Mississippi, of Biloxi. We lived on the 10th tee box on the golf course. And I knew if I stayed in too long, I would get comfortable and I would be too secure and I would never move. And so I jumped, and right into commission sales. And man, it was a bumpy road. I'm quite hard-headed. Like I said, I don't like to listen. So I had to learn some things the hard way. Lost a lot of money. Lost some friends, turned business partner, turned scoundrels. But hey, it's all good. At least they're out of my life forever now.
Right.
And have paved the way, since 1997, and finally can breathe. And I have something that's growing on its own, and now we're making it grow faster. It's been an interesting road.
Yeah, it usually is. I mean, it's never. The funny thing is we always think it's going to be a straight line, and it's only going to go one direction, and that's not true. It goes in so many different directions than we actually anticipate or even prepared for, and it's an emotional roller coaster. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you would still say it's worth it.
Oh yeah, because you look back at. I remember my first job was as a stockbroker, and I remember this mutual fund guy coming in, because they would come in, probably one or two a week, and they would buy us lunch and basically pitch to us why we should pitch their mutual fund.
Right.
And I remember the guy saying, you have to redefine and really properly define the term risk, because people would say, oh, that mutual fund or that stock is risky. It's like, so they defined risk as something that goes up and down, right? Instead of just this steady state kind of slow growth sort of thing. But, he said, the real risk now is not in losing your money, because if you put your money in a mutual fund, yeah, it may go down, but they're usually investing in 15 to 100 different companies. So 100 companies would have to go out of business simultaneously, which means the world is coming to an end.
We got other issues at that point.
Yeah. So it brought up a good point. So, the real risk is not losing your money. So the real risk is outliving your money. Mm-hmm. And so when you redefine that for me, I was like, you're absolutely right. Then I start to look at everything a little bit differently. And it's like, how do you define risk today? I mean, I would say now more than ever. There's no security in corporate America, right? I was fortunate enough to know my great-grandfather, and I was 21, 22 when he died, and he was in his late 90s. And he said, get you a job with a good pension,
And he probably said it exactly like that.
He did. We were sitting on his front porch swing in Jasper, Texas. He's like, get you a job with a good pension. He would chuckle. He said, I've drawn a pension longer than I worked. because they didn't plan on people living in their 90s, right?
Right, right.
Even when they created Social Security, they made the age 65 when the average life expectancy was like 59. And that's a true story. They didn't expect to pay this out, and so everything has changed. There's no more loyalty in that regard. Companies that they'll slash whatever to get to the bottom line and make their numbers and make Wall Street happy, and so you've got to be looking out for yourself. So it doesn't mean you don't do your job for your company if you're still working for somebody, but you need to be constantly improving yourself. If the company doesn't pay for the things you think you need, whether it's technology or training or something like that, pay for it on your own, and it will pay dividends in the end.
Now you're okay. This is good because you're starting to talk about a subject that I think our country, the U.S., is in that you went and sacrificed and defended, in my opinion. For this is what it was built on, was the whole concept of personal responsibility, in the sense of the more responsibility. I firmly believe the more responsibility any person is willing to take, the more the rules reward that person who provides, jobs, or the person that provides housing, or the person that provides value to the marketplace. The more the rules are in their favor, and I just think that what you're saying is very, very true for that person or that purpose. And I'm just kind of curious, where did you get that idea from?
Oh man, I don't know. I think it's just always in me. That's the way my parents raised me. I mean, learning it in business though. Um, I guess it was a bit of a learning curve, because I remember being at some companies and being angry that, oh, they're not providing me enough leads,
Right.
or my
Mm-hmm.
computer's not good enough. It's always breaking or hanging up or whatever. And, got to reboot it. And I finally, just in trying to get better, paying for courses on my own, or a lot of times, honestly, I was able to convince my boss to pay for a course. So always ask. They can always say no, right? So,
Right.
but buying books and CDs and attending courses, one day it really did click. I think it was a Jeffrey Gitomer book, The Little Red Book of Selling.
Oh yeah.
One of the first thing he opens up with is, first kick your own ass. I was like, oh wow, and that was 2004.
Yeah.
I remember reading that, and I was like, okay, so get your own stuff, pay for it on your own. That way you own it, and just go make things happen. And I don't know if he said or somebody, but it's, you can make money or you can make excuses.
Not both.
You cannot do both.
Right.
And that's 100% true.
It and I love it, and that's the thing that gets me excited every day, because I'm kind of curious when it comes to, I think the one skill set that, say, changes, or the one skill set that's different between those who work as an employee versus any other way of working, is simply learning how to sell, how to actually
Mm-hmm.
take a person through a process that takes them from stranger to customer in a fashion that the person is like excited about in any way, shape, or form. And
Right.
I go so far as to define it, even not to say because some people say I'm in sales, but what they really are is they're in order taking. They're not in sales.
Right.
And I want you to be able to go so far as to learn how to generate your own leads, generate that new relationship, and make all those steps all the way through. I would love to hear how you view it and how you understand it as well.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is I realized after many years that I was actually a marketer trapped in a salesman's body.
Huh.
But marketing is just selling in print. Okay. I truly believe if you can't sell face to face, kneecap to kneecap, sitting at the kitchen table with Joe and Mary, you're going to have a hard time selling online or any other way. And so we are all in sales, like it or not. When we get dressed, back in our dating days, right? You come home and we shower and put on a cologne, we fix our hair and we put on the nice clothes. Maybe we even wash the car and we go to the bar. We're in sales, right? We're putting our best foot forward. Do we always have our teeth brushed and our hair combed and good cologne on and a nice deodorant, or are we usually hanging out in gym clothes with a ball cap, and empty McDonald's wrappers all around the house, But is that persuasion or is that manipulation? Yeah, no, we're trying to put our best foot forward. So people will give us a chance so that good-looking girl across the bar will at least make eye contact, let us ask her to dance, see that we're okay, and then agree to meet again, and then to get to know us. So, we're all in sales. If you're an engineer at your company and you want to get a raise, you have to go convince them why you should get a raise. Did you get an additional certification on your own? Have you taken on additional duties for the company? Are you just an overall pleasant person?
Right.
Instead of a stick in the mud. So all of that is selling. And at the end of the day, I've got a very first thing I created, we'll start talking about Infusionsoft in a little bit, but the very first program I ever automated in Infusionsoft was the delivery of the 7 deadly sins of selling, which I had created around 2006. And one of those is money, right? People have a hang up about money. And I think truly the devil has turned things around because, there's an old saying, if you get them to ask the wrong questions, it doesn't matter what the truth is, because they're asking the wrong questions.
Right.
So the devil has succeeded in making us think that money is evil. And people will always even misquote Timothy, right? They'll say money is the root of all evil. And it's like, no, it's not. The love of money is the root of all evil. Money is just a convenient medium of exchange. It's a store of value. Okay. And so the effort we put forth and contribute to society comes back to us in the form of money.
Right.
That's all it is. But we're raised thinking, hey, Dad, how much does our house cost? Don't you worry about that, son. Hey, Mom, how much was dinner tonight? Why are you bothering me with that? Dad, how much did the car cost? That's none of your business, son. And then you're 18 and you're kicked out of the house. You're like, whoa, what do I do with money? Right. And then you become an entrepreneur. And you hesitate to tell somebody how much your product or service is worth, or you hesitate, like you do a lot in real estate. I did some work in real estate as well. I always remember a guy teaching me, if you're not ashamed of your offer, it's not low enough.
Right. Yes, I have put in an offer at $1 before, and I still didn't feel ashamed. I felt like it was justified, but that's a whole nother story.
But most people are, that they're hesitant, and you're hesitant and you have an issue with money if you find yourself quite often dealing with a prospect that asks you, okay, are you going to tell me how much this costs?
Yeah, right. Yes.
Right?
Totally
and so
understood.
that means you're bouncing around, you're dancing around. I like to get it out up front.
Yes.
Like, hey, Jay, the thing you're looking at, it's going to run you between $2,000 and $3,000 up front and $250 to $400 a month, depending on the thing that you get, the options, how you get it configured. Let me ask you right now, before we waste any more time.
Right.
Is this within your budget, or is this just totally blow it out of the water, and should we move on?
Absolutely. And what's funny is that I appreciate when people do that, just because I'm a bottom line kind of let's get to the bottom of it type of person, and that helps me because then I can breathe. I believe that it helps people also. Just relax, knowing, okay, cool, we got that out of the way now.
Right.
They can focus on, is this going to be worth whatever? I mean, at the end of the day, the price is the price. The question is does it produce enough value to be worth what you're asking for?
Right.
And now you've got that done. You have the ability to focus on creating value that justifies everything you're asking for so that they can see it, as opposed to trying to do it at the end when emotions are all interesting.
Yeah, people are they're wigged out about it, and it's going on in the back of their mind. So, drop the cat in the punch bowl. And one day I'll find this old Happy Days episode. I remember watching it years and years ago, and it was like Richie, I think, was in college at that time and still living at home, and he had some girl over to come study. And as soon as they sat down, she leaned over and kissed him, and he's like, "What's that all about?" And she says, I've always noticed guys always wonder if I like them and will they get a kiss, yada, yada. She says, so I just wanted to get this out of the way. Yes, I like you, but we're here to study. So now can we focus on studying?
Nice.
And he was like, yeah, okay, let's study. Hey, she likes me. Cool. All right, let's study history or math or something.
Nice.
And it's the same thing. She made the sale.
Indeed.
And then at least to move to the next step, right? So she progressed it. And that's exactly what we have to do in our business.
Yeah. Exactly. I love this, and that's the thing that's been amazing. Now, for me, and many of those of you listening, that real estate is by definition a lot of in person. Well, traditionally has been a lot of in person. However, with the advent of technology and all these other things, there's new ways to do things, and we can pretty much close a transaction now anywhere across the world until we need a notary, and then it becomes a challenge. Outside of that, though, I can be anywhere.
Yep.
And we're learning, the entire company right now, we're all going through over here, learning to move everything online. And one of the things that I want to make sure everyone knows about is a tool that we've run across that you know way more about than I do at this moment. And it has been helping us be able to reach more buyers, reach more sellers, do the things that, you still have to do. You still have to work your business, whether it be online or offline. And I love what you said, that marketing is selling in print, because that's one of the things that's been really, really hitting home for me these past few days, is like how similar it is to use these tools. It's in print, and because it's in print, it's a different way of learning to communicate. So I'm just kind of curious, in your estimation, educate us a little bit on, just because we talked about the words Infusionsoft, and people are like, what is that? And so tell us a little bit in your words, what is Infusionsoft? How does it help? And most importantly, if I'm looking to grow cash flow for my business, be that real estate or otherwise, what is it that it's going to do that, maybe I can't do myself? Okay. Just so you know, I'm having fun too. Now, many of you, maybe you already have, I don't know, but your books are on the way. It's so awesome. I've been signing books. I've been out there letting more people know that the books are here. If you have not placed your order, I can tell you right now that you're going to want to make sure that you do so, because we've got some special stuff coming up, and you're just going to have to trust that it's going to be worth placing the order now, for those of you who are hearing my voice already. Anyway, the pre-orders will be going out here. I've got a big stack of books right now. Got to get them all signed and shipped out, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's going to take a little minute. However, we are working on it, and we just placed a whole nother order for more books to physically arrive here. It's going to be awesome. And I'm starting to hear back from some of you that have already gotten it, or at least you got the digital one, which is awesome. And I definitely encourage, please keep sending in the feedback and letting us know how it's helping you to go out there and take action. If you are wondering what book is he talking about, especially if this is the first time you're listening, I just completed a book which is now out and available. Cash Flow Diary, 10 Steps to Creating Wealth in Any Economy. And you can get your own copy at cashflowdiary.com/book. We go through my entire business model from beginning to end. We focus first on the wholesaling aspect because that's what I did first. Some of you have also taken advantage of the webinar that we do that allows you to know about the wholesaling strategy as well, which is good. That can be found on the website, of course. And you are now reading the book, and I'm excited about it. Another way to get to the book, just send a text message to 949-682-3565. Again, that number, one more time, is 949-682-3565. The key word is book. Now, one last little piece. Guess what? There will be an audiobook as well. It's going to be awesome. And I'm going to repeat one more time for those of you who are pre-ordering before these things available. Probably a really, really, really good idea for you to make sure that you follow through with that, because you're going to be glad that you did. Cashflowdiary.com/book or 949-682-3565. Keyword is book. Let's get back to the interview.
Well, a lot of people they make the mistake or they want to lump Infusionsoft in as either a CRM, a customer relationship management tool, or like a Salesforce.com, or it's an email delivery tool like Constant Contact, or it's a shopping cart like One Shopping Cart, and it's like it's all of that. And what it is sales and marketing automation software. Because regardless of your business, you need to follow processes and develop systems that are repeatable. That's why Henry Ford is a household name, right? He brought the assembly line to automobiles. That's why McDonald's is a household name. Ray Kroc, he wanted to sell malt, mixers or whatever. And the McDonald's brothers were doing more than anybody else. And he was like, how are you doing this? And then they streamlined that system. So Infusionsoft just puts everything that an entrepreneur needs under one roof. So their contact management, so they can look up a client, they can look up a prospect, they can look at the quotes that they've provided them. It's a lead capture tool. So you can have, your newsletter sign up or your free report sign up embedded on your website. So when people opt in, they are segmented, right? They're giving a tag. So you can follow up appropriately. Then the information is delivered automatically. And then as long as you build this out, I have sequences that run for weeks and even months, dripping on people, sending them emails, postcards, assigning tasks to my team to give them a call, to nurture them along. It's that selling in print, right? I'm answering all of their questions that we would have normally done in person, but I'm doing it virtually or digitally until that person is comfortable and ready to buy. So it's all in one, and then it's also a shopping cart. So people will buy from me, and it's a beautiful thing. Literally every morning I wake up and I see orders, confirmations from Infusionsoft and from Authorize.net. Boom, boom, boom. These orders are coming in. Didn't have to speak to the people a lot of times, and at a minimum, they're at least entering their purchasing information without having to fax it in or phone it in. Somebody's got to sit on the phone. Was that a 9 or an 8? Well, can you say that again? Whoa, slow down. And then you mess up the email. You get the wrong, code, the verification code, and you got to call them back. So let the client do all of that. And then your business will just run. And when you have those types of processes, then you can identify where you have shortcomings, and you can focus on those and improve the process, and then it's just this iterative process to where you just are constantly improving now instead of just trying to stay afloat, and that's the biggest difference. That's what Infusionsoft has helped me to do since 2008.
Yeah. I'm just now learning about it, and I'm in love with it because we've done everything, and this is what I keep telling people, is that we've done most of everything that we've done thus far, pretty much on Post-it notes and Excel sheets. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, wow. And then I read that book by Chet Holmes, where he was talking about you're primarily doing business with the top 3% that are ready. Yep. At that moment. And I'm just sitting here thinking, wow, that means there's a whole lot of people that I haven't followed up with. And the only reason it is because there's not a system in place, and hopefully for those of you who are listening, the crux of the thing is that we all need a system. You've got to have some sort of system that fills in where you don't, because otherwise, at least this has been my experience, is that you have to fill in that system with personnel, and personnel are significantly more expensive than software.
Oh, yes.
And, well, also less reliable.
Yes. That's why they're more expensive.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And I'm starting to experience some of what you're saying. It's taken us a while to get some things up and running, but I'm starting to experience what you're talking about. I can remember it was maybe 1 or 2 days ago, I woke up for the first time and I was like, oh, look, cool, neat. Someone bought something. This is nice. I like waking up to receipts in my email box saying that someone found value in everything that we were doing, and now they're going through the courses, learning how to begin to transact real estate, or they bought the book, and all these other things. And I'm just like, Are you telling me I feel like I honestly, Wes, I feel like you guys have had a great secret for a long time and just didn't tell me and didn't want me to know. I'm like, man.
I tell you what, I have over a 200-page website, over 500 blog posts, and I don't know, at least 100 videos. So I'm doing my best to not make it a secret.
Right. And now that I've been going, I'm just like, where has all this stuff been? I mean, and for me, it seems as though I think I'm gonna say that systems like this become the salesman or the small business owner's best friend.
Right.
Because it creates stability where there may not be any. And more importantly, one of the things that, I work a lot. We do a lot of work with individuals who are getting started for the first time or doing their first business and those types of things. So my question to you is, because I see this in my coaching clients, I see they say things like, well, I'm concerned about having a safe, steady, secure paycheck. And I often tell people, well, the only reason your paycheck isn't safe, steady, or secure as a self-employed or small business owner or big business owner is because you aren't safe, steady, or secure. Maybe I'm wrong because, again, I'm new to the whole Infusionsoft world, so I'd love your perspective with how you work with your clients and whatnot. I can see this becoming what produces that consistent paycheck, quote unquote, that they're looking for.
Well, it can, right? But you still have to produce. You have to create something worth buying.
That's true.
Right? And you have to tell a story in a convincing manner so you stand out from the clutter. Like you just said, hey, I feel like this is a best kept secret. This is an 11-year-old company doing ungodly millions of dollars a year. Just got $54 million in funding from Goldman Sachs last year. I've been their number one reseller in North America for the last 2 years, and people are still like, yep, haven't heard of you. Like, what?
Right. You're like, where you been? Yeah, could have used you last year. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and so we've been sold a bill of goods in this world in the whole build a better mousetrap and they'll beat a path to your door. When you really read the true story of that, it was a marketing spin and attributed to Emerson, but Emerson wrote it a little differently. He didn't write it as well, but it was taken out of context, and because there are a ton of very smart people with great patents and designs and whatever that are flat broke, because they couldn't market that thing, they couldn't get it sold. So yes, Infusionsoft can help. I tell as many people no. I tell more people no than I tell them yes. To step up to Infusionsoft, because a lot of times they're not ready. You've got to master the individual components, or you've got to have a product ready to launch. You've got to be really have some things in place because it's a big beefy system compared to a $1 trial with AWeber and then $19 a month if you need an autoresponder.
Right.
You can sign up for one shopping cart and just pay an extra percentage on your sales and get started. For maybe $30 a month. You can get a $5 version of Salesforce.com. Okay, but the problem is, then you're going to need constant contact. So now you end up with 3 or 4 different systems. Okay, so you're paying $30 a month for each of them. Not a big deal, but you got 4 of them. So now you're paying $120 a month, and you're cutting and pasting and losing your mind because you're doing this tedious work instead of doing your passion, right, and really helping people. So that's why. But sometimes you got to live that pain. Right, to see the value, because people will go, oh, $300 a month, I'm not paying that. I got this other thing for $50 a month. It's like, okay, but does it do A, B, C, D, and E? And so, but sometimes, again, they got to live that pain to see it. But business really it's a system. I like to keep things simple coming from the South, and I put it down to A, B, C, D, E. You've got to attract. Okay, and not just attract them to your website or your place of business. You've got to attract them to give their contact information. Okay, so that's the A. Because like my wife and I, we go to Taco Tuesday almost every night, and we go to 2 different places. In the last month, we've gone to a new place, a little Mexican restaurant, good food, great prices, but they don't know who we are. Right, and so the other place that we used to go to, and we're about to have our 7th kid. Right, we got a big family.
Good night.
And all of Shannon's family lives here. Her mom, her dad, her brother, His two daughters, they've got husbands and a couple of kids each. Um, Aunts and uncles. I mean, we will literally show up at times with 30 people to a restaurant. Okay.
Nice.
And like my father-in-law would show up early and start saving tables. And even at a discounted rate on Taco Tuesday, when 30 people show up to your place of business, you're going to make some money.
Right.
Okay. But they don't know who we are. So they've attracted us with their prices, but they haven't attracted us to give our contact information so they can stay in touch. So you've got to attract, and then the B is bond, right? You've got to have that connection. So first you need their information so you can then stay in touch. Okay. And then you make the sale, the close, the cash. That's the C. But if you notice, it's right in the middle. Too many people, they treat the sale as the end game, as the end result. But it's really the middle, because then you've got to deliver. Okay, if we go to Taco Tuesday and we pay $5 for a plate of tacos and they give us $5 worth of food, we're going to be satisfied. All right, but you can't build a thriving business by just creating satisfied people. All right, so that's where you've got to deliver and really wow them. And you got to have processes in place for each one of these. And from there, when you really deliver and wow, it goes to the E, which is endear. Right now, they're taking pictures of your stuff and putting it on Pinterest and Instagram and Facebook, and they're tweeting about this wonderful experience and how great everything was. Then the referrals and testimonials come back, and guess where you are now? You're back at A. Now you're attracting free traffic and free conversions because you took the time to go through A, B, C, D, E. And each of those steps, man, you could have 10 or 20 steps under each of those. So it sounds simple. And it's like, it's simple, but it's not easy, right? Because you got to have the steps, you got to test the steps, you got to check your messaging, you got to have a good headline, you got to have a good offer, a good call to action. There's a lot of things to it. But Infusionsoft, I really like them because they don't just give you templates for an email. They'll give you a campaign beginning to end. Maybe it's a birthday campaign. Maybe it's a trade show campaign. Maybe it's a webinar campaign that takes you from registration to confirmation to reminders to follow up after. So at least you have this framework. So you're not staring at a blank screen saying, okay, I have this big, powerful tool and I'm paying for it every month. What do I do with it?
That was actually one of the okay, I've got to confess here. I was that guy. We were doing the AWeber. We don't need the Infusionsoft. There's no way on earth I'm paying that much money per month for things. So I've said it now. Thousands of people know it. Okay, there it is. I'm over it now. I felt the pain.
You had to live the pain.
I'm like, wow, I should have started here long time ago. I know that now. And the thing that I'm learning is, like you just said, is that while it is simple, but there's lots of, and I think you said this in your book, you were saying what you're trying to do is simple. It's just that there are many little things that have to be done correctly.
Right.
And that's the learning curve, is all of those many little things that have to be done correctly. And if you learn to do them correctly or get the guidance to have them done correctly, you're rewarded first with the relationship and the information and making that connection and eventually the sale and then the referrals and all of these things. And I've definitely enjoyed a lot of the things that Infusionsoft has provided, specifically one of the most recent things they just created was the campaign for meeting people in person.
Yes.
I mean, how many salespeople do you know have 4 stacks of 300 cards on their desk that they have never used?
Yep.
And the day that came out, I said, okay, cool. Let me go through some of these. And I put my most recent stack of 30 through the list. And I know this week we've already gotten business from some of those people simply because they were automatically added to the correct campaign and all this other. And and the key thing is I didn't actually talk to them. I just put it in and I put it in the campaign. The campaign did the tagging and did the communicating. And then what ended up happening is that I woke up and I was like, oh, wow, cool, neat. This thing works. So I'm like I said, I'm learning to enjoy it, even though it's got lots of little things. those lots of little things is where we get to apply our creativity and using video and all this other stuff. And it's changing how we interact with our investors even. I mean, and that's one of the things I'm looking forward to, is being able to stay in contact with those that have entrusted their funds with us to be able to get new business. All of these things are the things that every business needs to do, and we know we need to do them, but we're just not doing them.
Right.
But now we have a tool, and this is good. So I'm just kind of curious, how did you find out about Infusionsoft before? I mean, because what led you there?
I've been a follower and reader of Dan Kennedy. And I was in his Glazer Kennedy inner circle and learning about marketing. And he was an investor in Infusionsoft early on, and they were doing one of their 4-city tours back then. And so this was like July of 2008, and they were coming out to the Anaheim Convention Center. It's about an hour from me, so I drove out and spent the day out there, and got to meet Dan Kennedy and met the Infusionsoft folks, and they gave a lot of testimonials, people that were using it. And back then, man, it was $5,000 and $300 a month. That was it. It's like the old Model T, right? You can have any color you want as long as it's black. And I bit the bullet. I had the foundation of my business. I had started the Sales Whisperer back in 2006. So I was still in corporate America. And went off on my own for about a year and a half. Then 2008, everything really crumbled, and it was the whole financial crisis. And I was feeding the family, right? But it was hard. It was really hard. And I'm like, okay, it's got to be a better way. And I saw Infusionsoft, and I'm like, okay, this can really do it. Because I had the pieces and parts. So I got it. Then I heard about their certification process, which was quite different back then, but I went through their 5-day certification, and because it was different back then, the way that their partners were allowed to sell and promote. We were really like glorified affiliates. So I've always been a writer, so I just started blogging like crazy about the software and documenting how I used it, and I just started getting traffic and making sales, and then one thing led to another. And it snowballed from there, because really being an affiliate, you talk about cash flow. When you find a product that you can promote and they pay you an affiliate fee, either one time or ideally every month. And being a certified partner, I get paid every month for sales that I've made going back 6 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And those add up. And, that gave me the cash flow to finally go out on my own, despite having a big family. Like my wife, 18 and a half years, she quit her easy job in corporate America to take on a hard job, but she's never worked outside the home in 18 years. So this has all been on me. And so she trusted me to follow my dreams, but, I couldn't negate or neglect that trust by doing something stupid. Mm-hmm. I had to make money. I had to pay the mortgage, and I wanted to keep my family comfortable. And, I know you've got a fantastic story. And I wonder, though, sometimes, is it easier to make it when you've hit rock bottom versus when you're comfortable, and then jumping out and leaving that safety net? Both of them are hard.
Absolutely. And personally, obviously, I can only speak from one perspective. I don't think one is easier than the other. And it's funny you mentioned that, because I get that question a lot. And I actually had put the answer in my book and describe what needs to happen for either side of that equation, in my opinion, so that the person can get their back off against the wall and make what needs to happen. So either way it goes, it's difficult. You're stepping out on faith. And That's what you did, and you've done it successfully. And these tools, and I think one of the things that we gotta address, because I want them to know a little bit more about what you guys have to offer and what it is that you're doing, because I know there are entrepreneurs out there that could use and leverage what it is that you're bringing to the table. But I think one of the other dangers of these tools and how they're marketed or how they're sold is believing that, okay, all I got to do is buy the tool and then my life is easy. I don't have to do anything else after that.
There's the evil laugh.
Yeah, right. It's like, well, I bought the tool. Yeah, but did you open it? No.
You mean I gotta rip the shrink wrap off of this thing and put it in my computer? What?
Yeah. Exactly. Have you ever logged in? You mean today or ever? Wow. Yes. So and I find it interesting because at times it could be perceived that all you need is this tool and your problems go away. I don't think that's the case, but I do believe that this has definitely been the Ferrari engine or Lamborghini engine or whatever car you like engine that allows the small business owner an uncommon advantage.
Oh, absolutely. You've got to have processes in place. And, I do a lot. Most of my work is with Infusionsoft, but we support 99% of the platforms out there. I've got a big team. I've used Salesforce.com since 2004. We help people get started with Aweber, right? The main thing is get started. And if it's baby steps you have to take, that's fine. I started on baby steps. I was using the free version of Zoho and I got 3 folks that work for me now. They were with another software company at the time back in 2007. Started using their free email tool because they wanted somebody to promote it. So, and that's one of the reasons really I've been able to make it is being frugal, right? My wife and I have always lived under our means. So, I spend money when it's right. Like I'm getting a booth at Infusion Con coming up here in a couple of weeks. I mean, I'm spending $15,000, $16,000, no sweat. Okay. But I'll still haggle to try to save $10 on my cell phone plan.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, I mean, you spend money when it's wise, but I get deals when I can. So I'm not saying just because you spend this money, it's going to be there, like you just mentioned. But so start frugally. You've got to be able to sleep at night. So if you're not sleeping at night because you're spending too much money on stuff, then cut your expenses. If you're not sleeping at night because you have excess capacity, then figure out how to get busier. And that may mean spending money, okay, on tools that can help make the phone ring.
Yep. I love that help make the phone ring part. That's definitely the fun stuff. So give us a little bit more for those that want to possibly find out more about either, sales, some of the techniques, some of the ways to use and leverage technology to just bring in more revenue. Where would you suggest they go? How do we find out more from you guys?
So 2 things, it's thesaleswhisperer.com is my main site. So you can I have a ton of free reports and different things that, I say, look, go check it out. Go let me drip on you. If nothing else, see how I do it. And if you like it, we call it swipe and deploy. Take it, clean it up. Don't just copy and paste, but, emulate it and do it yourself. And from there, if you want to talk about something, hit the contact us and, we'll be in touch. We'll do a free consultation, not pushy at all. Last thing I want is somebody to buy something that they weren't ready for. The other thing, it's a little bit edgy I'm coming out with, and it's called Market Like a Man, marketlikeaman.com. I'm assembling it now. We got the T-shirts done. We're going to be discussing this at Infusion Con, and we're launching it for real. It'll start in May. So if you want to get on the early bird list and see what that's all about, see if I'm just this big male chauvinistic pig, or if there's if there's some subtlety to it, a little more than meets the eye, sign up for the early bird list. And that's going to be a coaching program I'm coming out with. And it's a fit for anybody at any stage of their business. They just wants to be with a good group of people that does rubber meets the road type of sales and marketing.
Awesome. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed a very excellent episode. I know that I've enjoy meeting new entrepreneurs, hearing their perspectives, understanding how they view the very same things that all of us have to go out there and do. Whether the business is real estate, whether it's, it could be spoons. It doesn't really matter what the business is. The point is that sales must happen. You must have processes. You must understand that marketing is selling in print, and you've got to have those systems that are repeatable. Hopefully those are key concepts that you have learned from this particular episode. And more importantly, you've learned that you can and should use technology to leverage and help yourself make those things happen. With that being said, Wes, I'd like to just say thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, everybody. You know what it's time to do. It is time for you to go out there and take massive, immediate action at the speed of instruction. Some of you, when you've been listening to this episode, you said to yourself, ooh, I need to go download his report. I need to go talk to him. I need to do something. You are absolutely right. Do not leave the scene of this decision without taking measurable action. What does that mean? That means go, download, give your information, let him drip on you. I love the idea of swiping and deploying, because that's him saying, look, use it. He wants you to be successful. We all do, and that's the whole point. Hopefully you've had a great time here, and I look forward to talking to all of you guys again soon. Until next time.
Thank you for investing your time with Jay Massey and the Cash Flow Diary. When you have a moment, please visit iTunes and leave a positive comment about the show. And go now to our website, cashflowdiary.com, to take advantage of our free business building course, Cash Flow Foundation. Gain the knowledge, understanding, and skill that will teach you how to never need a job again. Until next time.